Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Through the Mist. It's been a few weeks since our last live show, but glad to be back in it. We're going to do a little recap because it has been, it's been a month since we played. The group had joined together in the city of Thentia, which is in the Moonsea region of the Forgotten Realms. You had decided to come back together when you heard the Witchlight Carnival was going to be in town. Because it is such a rare event. It happens only once every 8 years, and you never really know where it's going to show up. But you had heard it's going to show up in Thentia. So you all traveled, some of you together, some of you solo, and you ended up meeting up. You caught some drinks. You fought some tentacle, weird, slurpy beast thing, and then you took a nap. Or you went back, you took a bath, you slept for the night. And the next morning you decided, well, you're hearing rumors that the carnival's set up, and you might as well go check it out. And yeah, there's a line outside, people trying to buy tickets, even though it's not time for it to open. And you just walked in like you owned the place, convinced the goblin at the gate that you do, and headed on in. You come to find out that the owners of the carnival, Mr. Witch and Mr. Light, have both lost an item that is very important to them and is causing a lot of distress and worry within the carnival. So you kind of walked around and were investigating all of that, and then you realized there was an extension to the carnival that you don't remember. There was almost like another carnival set up next to the main carnival, and the workers that are within the Witchlight seemed very concerned about this. In fact, Mr. Witch and Mr. Light were very concerned about this. They were talking about how she was going to come and try and take the Witchlight back. So you kind of investigated a little bit. You went into that that carnival itself. If anyone wants to know about that, go back and watch those episodes, because I'm not going to dive too far into all of that. But you all came back together last episode at the like eating area for the workers, rather than like the food court for the carnival goers. And you found that Mr. Witch and Mr. Light were in a heated conversation, trying to decide what to do about it. You know, the arrival of this other carnival, especially when they couldn't find these objects that seemed so important to them. As you walked in and you're seeing this, all of a sudden their gazes turn towards you, and these looks of fear and anxiety just washed over everyone's face. Mr. Light, Mr. Witch, as well as all of the people who were in the area with you. For a moment you think, wow, what did we do to make them so worried? And then you hear a voice from behind you, and you turn to look, and you see this very tall, very thin, elvish woman, you think. As the sun is setting and the light is going down, or like fading away, you get the feeling that she's red-skinned for a moment, and she has this kind of almost demonic look to her. And you realize her skin is actually very kind of a milk chocolatey brown. There's a weird red glow coming from the sword that she has rested on her shoulder as she smirks at everyone and says, "I've come to take my carnival back." What do you do?
No. Later. No.
Right? And we're out.
Oh, there it is. Cheers. Bye.
And scene.
And game. We go back, we get a drink,
Done.
we retire from being
Thank you, guys.
adventurers.
Good session.
Right?
I mean, it
Join
sounds
the other
like
carnival.
them problem, not really an us problem, but
So as you're all kind of like taking this in and trying to figure out what to do, she's like, "Oh, you're all so depressing. Music." And she just calls out, and in the background you can hear the calliope starts up, and there's this like kind of floating music that comes drifting into the area. And Mr. Light and Mr. Witch look at each other knowingly. Well, so it's good to see you, and I didn't expect you here this time. Funny thing though, we're not quite ready to, trade our carnivals back. Mr. Light says, yes, it's fine. Everything's under control, but we just, we've already set up, and we'd love to have this one last opportunity to, and she just cuts them off with a wave of her hand, and she's like, you don't understand. I'm not here to trade our carnivals back to one another. I'm here to take my carnival back. And she twirls that sword and jams it into the ground, and there's this flash of red light, and mist kind of starts billowing out of the ground where she stabbed it, and she begins to stride towards Mr. Witch and Mr. Light. What do you do?
Okay, I'm gonna look at her and just say, I don't see or hear your name on this carnival, so I think you may be mistaken.
Do you move into her way, or are you saying this as she passes by you?
I kind of stand in between her and the two.
Okay. She is very tall. Like, you're not... I can't remember. Are you fairly short for a drow?
I would say I'm about average height.
Okay. So
Is she like Lilith's height? Like...
She almost is. She's not quite as tall as Lilith, but she's very tall compared to the rest of, especially Twiggy, but she's very tall to the rest of you. And she's much more willowy than Lilith is. She's not like built like a train.
Yeah.
But she just kind of exudes this persona, like this like train-like persona, as she's just stalking towards them, and Dizzy steps in front of her, and she stops and looks down at you and smirks. Do you say anything else?
Bad that Lyra likes her.
Lilith
Well,
is gonna
I like
stand.
her smile.
Yeah, I think Lilith is gonna stand up and hang out right there with the two of them.
Okay.
And I'm pretty certain Lilith likes carnivals, mildly amused by carnivals, and she still has yet to actually go to this one. So it seems kind of preemptive to shut it all down. Lilith would like to check it out. So she'd like to propose that they have another night.
Okay. So after like kind of smirking at Dizzy and looking over at Lilith while she says this, she looks up towards Witch and Light, who, Twiggy, you notice that they've kind of like separated or going separate directions, almost that like you don't even need to make a check for this. It's that she can only catch one of us look on both of their faces as they try to head out. And she glances at them and she's like, I see you've hired new recruits. That's all right. I don't mind new hires. Ma'am, and she looks to Lilith, you are more than welcome to stay with the carnival. You can experience the carnival as much as you'd like. And Dizzy, she's still not moving past you, but do you say anything else or do anything?
No, I'm just gonna kind of try to stare her down some, or stare her up rather, since she's taller than I am.
Okay. Go ahead and make an intimidation check. When I first clicked over, I saw the 3 for your Arcana from last time. I'm like, ooh, but the 12 isn't that bad. She does kind of glance at you, not, in any sense of fear, but she looks down at you at maybe a little glint of respect in her eye for standing up to her. She doesn't move past you. Mr. Witch, says, well, you see, there might be a small problem in that the watch and the cane have, we don't have them in our possession at the moment. And she glances at them, at Mr. Witch, and then looks over at Mr. Light, who's made it a little further than Mr. Witch has, and he kind of yipes as he's taken in by her gaze. Yes, you see, we have them elsewhere for safekeeping. Yes, it has nothing to do with anything that you need to, worry your head about. But it'll be fine. And she just smiles and she says, you still don't understand. It doesn't matter if you have the cane and the watch. I'm here to take my carnival back. And they just kind of both glance at each other from the distance. Lyra, you notice that this fog that's billowing out from under the sword has kind of spread across most of this food court area. It's very thin on the ground so far, but as it hits the fences and like the tables and such, it begins to kind of thicken and rise, and it's getting harder to see Mr. Witch and Mr. Light, and even because you're not standing next to Lilith and Dizzy, correct?
No, Lyra, as Lyra does, just is kind of staying and watching for a moment.
Okay. You're actually starting to have a hard time seeing the people around you. What do you do?
I'm trying to figure out what Lyra would do.
I can come back to you.
Lyra, because she's Lyra, has been watching this whole thing, and she finally takes a step forward, and in true Lyra fashion, drink literally still in her hand, she kind of saunters up, leans a little bit casually, and goes, "I'm sorry, who are you?"
Okay. Are you walking toward her from behind or from the side or front? Does she see you coming, or?
Yeah, she would probably Lyra would probably be off to the side, so it's kind of walking up to a conversation from the side a little bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Peripherally.
She looks down at you, and she says, "I am Isolde, the true owner of this carnival. Are you also a new hire? I love new hires."
It's a little weird that you said that twice.
There is a pulse of red light that comes off of the sword that's in the ground as you point that out, and she smiles. Twiggy, you also are noticing that visibility is going down. You can see the three of your friends standing around this elven woman. You're having a hard time tracking where Light and Witch are at this point. What do you do?
I'm less concerned about them. I'm more concerned about her. You said an elf, but are you talking fae?
Make a history check. You can do history or arcana or nature at advantage.
Well, let's see here. Didn't study in school. Nature. Man, arcana is what he's got. While I'm doing that, I'd like to open my awareness to the presence of concentrated magic. So would like to get a sense of what spells are on her, what spells are active within 60 feet.
Spells specifically?
No, what school of magic, what kind of magic is concentrating here? I don't know specific spells, but I do identify magic items, visible magic items that's
Gotcha.
not behind total cover. It's a weird little ribbon ability as part of this class, but it's kind of fun.
Nice.
So he's going to take a big sniff of the air, looking for concentration of magic, while he is focusing his mind on boop, at advantage. Oh, it's just one roll, it doesn't auto. Well, it's a good thing it's an advantage. Jesus. Wow, 6.
6. That was at advantage.
That was at advantage. The other one was a 2. Yeah.
There's definitely something about her, but you can't really say that you've encountered someone of her physique and style before. She's definitely fae, but whether that is an elven offshoot or strict directly from the Feywild, you're not sure.
Because my bird guard is away from me and I don't ever feel safe without them.
Oh,
I'm going to go
Seagull guard, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna go and join them and perch up on. Let's see, who am I going to perch on? Probably Lyra.
What is your passive perception?
Twiggy?
Yeah.
12.
12. As you think about this and you're worried about it, you head that direction and you kind of are, peripherally keeping an eye on the sky, and you do notice there are some like shadows that are moving around in the sky, even though the sun is almost set. There's definitely something up there. So you land on Lyra's shoulder, and you definitely have this like kind of sense that they're watching you.
They always are.
Right.
I'm gonna still try and act cool. I gotta act cool because they can smell your fear, and I'm gonna lean into Lyra's ear and be like, just whatever you do, just don't agree to anything. Ever.
Lyra, just because she is still a little step back, she kind of without looking at Twiggy, again, she still does have her drink in her hand and just kind of goes, I'm not stupid.
It's not a matter of whether you're smart. It's a matter of whether or not you're quick enough to catch it.
So she reaches forward and she looks Lilith in the eye, because you're kind of on the same level as she is, and she puts her hand on your shoulder. She's like, I would really like it if you would go over there and get Mr. Light and bring him here. I need you to make a charisma saving throw.
My God. All right. Let's see.
Excellent.
Oh, man.
All right. This is probably the best thing you've ever been told. And her eyes are just so fascinating. So the sooner you go over and get Mr. Light and bring him back, the sooner you can look at her eyes again.
Oh my gosh. I'm bedazzled by her eyes, and there's no way out of that.
There isn't with your amazing save.
Fantastic. I will go and retrieve said person.
Okay. So
for her.
So Dizzy and Lyra and Twiggy, you definitely notice this kind of adoration fall across Lilith's face.
Darn it.
As she's asked to do this, and she grips her mace in her hand and turns and walks off into the mist. What are the three of you doing?
Just saying, contracts.
Well, Lyra, especially because she knows Lilith really well, and now she watches Lilith grab this other woman's hand to be like, come on, let's go. Lyra's concern immediately just goes through the roof.
Right.
She's like, that doesn't seem, don't like that.
Right.
Don't like that.
Yep.
And she's gonna call to hold on. Did they see the full interaction between, you said it's Isolde?
Yeah, Isolde put her hand on her shoulder.
Okay.
Said, I would really like it if you did this. And there was definitely
they all kind of heard it happen too?
Yeah, there's definitely something going on there. Also, Twiggy, sorry, going back to what you were looking for earlier, there is no magic on her, as far as she isn't dispelled by anything, but that sword sure is magical over there.
It sure is. Any other magical items within 60 feet or active spells?
I don't think any of you have magic, right? I don't. As far as items, I don't think any of you have items, so I'm gonna answer that with no.
Oh, this reminds me that I need to change the item that I chose because I accidentally chose an uncommon and not a common.
I'm lying. Both Dizzy and Lyra have very subtle.
I was gonna say,
yeah.
The cloak of billowing, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You all took.
Yeah.
It's been so long since we started this. I'm sorry. All of you have very subtle, uncommon magic items, but you do notice that Dizzy and Lyra have one more each.
Yeah. Lyra has a dagger of warning.
Do you, after you do this, do you continue to sense that?
No, I think it's for one turn.
Okay.
Let me see. It's a weird class.
Well, you're
I've not
looking
played
that up.
Barbarian in a long time, but
Let's see here.
So, Lyra, do you
Yeah.
go after Lilith, or do you...
She's not gonna like reach for Lilith, but she's gonna like follow a step behind and kind of call out to Lilith and just kind of go, Lil, like just she'd like grab her attention,
Yeah.
right? Like, are you? Can you still hear me? Type of like, what are you doing? Where are you going? But like not really saying that. Like,
Yeah. So Lilith, you can respond to her and to other people talking to you as you want, but as far as you're concerned, Isolde is just like awesome, and you want to do whatever it is she says, and you don't want to take any time to do anything but that.
Those eyes. They don't lie. Lilith is just gonna continue on with her task and just kind of like look over her shoulder and give a little like, yeah, what? And then turn around and go back to what she was doing.
Okay.
Because she wants to get them and bring them back.
So Twiggy, you were on Lyra's shoulder. Do you continue to ride Lyra's shoulder as she heads that direction?
Well, I mean,
They. Is Lyra a she or they? Again, going back to I haven't played this in a month.
Lyra's a she.
Thank you.
Twiggy's gonna give backup to
Dizzy?
Dizzy.
Okay.
I was like, it's not Ziggy, it's Dizzy. It's Dizzy. It's like, oh my god, it's another 2 consonants and an E at the end of it. Yeah. He's gonna go get back up, so he'll just move from one shoulder to the next. The ability lasts until the end of his next turn. So did she cast a spell when she?
She did.
She did. Okay, enchantment, I would assume.
Yes.
Yeah, he's just gonna be like,
But you got the feeling it was more, it was a spell, but it was something that she could just do. She didn't, like, cast it like a sorcerer or a wizard would.
Mortals cast spells.
Right.
Like, come on. Like, this is...
Come on.
This is pure magic. We use the word spell because it's the only way to explain it to mortal people.
Yeah. You got to speak real slow and very loudly. All right, so Dizzy, you see Lola take off. Lyra follows. Twiggy like kind of jumps off her shoulder and flies over towards you. What are you doing?
I think I'm just gonna hang out here
Okay.
and just kind of get a feel for, I guess, the situation.
So she's kind of eyeing Isolde's eyeing Lilith and Lyra as they walk off, and she turns back to look at the two of you, and she smiles, and she watches Twiggy for a while, and she just claps her hand. She's like, "That's so wonderful. I haven't seen someone from the Feywild in so long."
Well, we get around. Sometimes you fall through a hole. Sometimes you walk out on the street. You don't really know like where the portals take you, but they take you there.
It's true. And how long have you been here with the carnival?
Oh, no, I mean, like, I was there for a little bit of temp work, It's easier to get from one place to the other, especially if you're adjusting to this many seagulls in the air.
I see. Are you also new to employment at the carnival?
I wouldn't say anything about, like, employment. Maybe, like, subcontractor.
I see.
Yeah.
And how about you? And she turns her face towards Dizzy.
I mean, I am new to this employment, but not employment in general.
I see. I have to say, the four of you have really impressed me. I appreciate your backbone, as opposed to, and she gestures, and like the pug is hiding under a table, almost out of sight at this point because of the mist that's rolling in. A couple other fairies are barely noticeable, hiding behind trash cans. Witch and Light are completely out of view from the two of you at this point. but like no one is like being very forward with her except for the four of you.
Yeah, well, I'm a traveling bard, so I'm used to having a backbone.
Oh, excellent. Can you play something for me?
I mean, I could, but would I? I'm not so sure.
Don't say yes.
Very discerning bard.
You notice, like, you don't see it anymore. You just kind of see the shape of the glowing sword as it pulses in the mist. And she just kind of, she doesn't scowl at you, but that look she had on her face just kind of gets a little colder.
Can Lyra, so Lyra's a mercenary, right? Can she, like, tell anything about this sword? Like, she's seen a lot of various weapons.
Yeah,
like,
go ahead and do
her
an
time.
Arcana check.
Okay, because, like, this, at this point, like, it's very clear that this sword is not your average sword.
Right. 13. So with the 13, it's definitely magical. You can tell. I mean, that seemed obvious.
Right.
It's definitely magical, and you caught on pretty quickly that there is a reaction to some of the things you are all doing, where it doesn't seem like it's just pulsing randomly. Like sometimes it'll pulse because somebody did something that maybe it didn't like or was annoyed by. Maybe there's some kind of connection between Isolde and the sword. That's pretty much what you get.
Lyra is potentially going to do something a little chaotic.
Do it.
No.
She, upon noticing this, she is going to just reach out and grab Lilith's other hand and just kind of try to stop her from walking.
Sure.
Just like, wait.
Why don't you both make athletics checks?
Against Lilith? Really?
Yeah, I mean she could roll poorly. You rolled really well, so
I mean, fair, but...
Oh, but
No.
not quite enough. And I think you also, because you're a Goliath, you might have had advantage on that. I can't remember for sure, but it doesn't matter. So, Lyra, you dig your feet in, you grab her hand, and you, like, lean back, and, like, you've definitely slowed Lilith down, but, like, you're just kind of dragging, grooves in the ground trying to stop her.
No, honestly, once Lyra would feel resistance, she'd, like, let go.
Okay.
But, like, she tried. She tried.
Yeah.
Well, and is Lilith paying any attention to this to, like, at all get out of her state of mind? Like,
you can definitely hear her. You can react how you want, but you just have to keep heading off to find Mr. Light.
Keep finding Mr. Light. Okay. Because it's starting to get foggy, Lilith is going to touch her holy symbol and bring upon Twilight Sanctuary, so she and her friends can see better, and this also helps her find Mr. Light.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Do your friends have to be within a certain distance of you for that to work on them?
Here. They have to be within 30 feet.
Okay,
30 feet.
they're still within 30 feet. Perfect.
Mm-hmm. So there's a sphere that's centered around me. They have to be within 30 feet within the sphere, and I can either grant them 1d6 plus 3 temporary hit points, or I can end one effect. Let's see, what is it? You end one effect on it, causing it to be charmed or frightened. So something else I can charm or frighten.
Do you?
That's cool.
So you could end a charmed or frightened effect on somebody.
So
Technically,
somebody else.
I think because you are so convinced that she's your friend and you want to do this for her, it would be difficult for you to choose to try and end the effect on yourself. But I'm going to give you another save to try and do that.
Ooh.
So you're going to do a charisma save. So the thought crosses your mind as this like sanctuary opens up around you, and you notice that the mist doesn't really thin or anything, but you do see Mr. Light a little better. He's kind of cowering over there behind that like little booth. But the thought just crosses your mind that you could use this ability of yours to end this kind of strange feeling now that you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I like control, and I feel that there's this lack of control happening, and I don't necessarily like it. But depending on if you'll allow me to try and take it off of myself.
Yeah. So does it
Or
just?
not.
Do you have to make any rolls for it? Can you just choose to end that effect?
I can choose to end it.
Cool.
Because all of this lasts for a minute.
Okay.
Unless I'm incapacitated or I die.
Gotcha.
So I can kind of bring this on whenever. But yeah, I would like to end that feeling, and I'd still want to get Mr. Light and figure out what the hell's going on.
Okay. So you end the effect on yourself, and there's like kind of this hollow pit in your stomach as it goes away. And you're like, her eyes really are quite beautiful, but I'm not really sure why I decided to listen to her to go do this. And so...
I don't know this lady. I mean,
Yeah.
come on. It's ridiculous.
And you can... So Lyra's there. Lyra, you would notice this effect because you can also kind of see a little bit better in the fog. And Lilith's demeanor changes. Like, she was
Lyra,
very...
like, lets out a little sigh of relief. She's like, oh my god.
Nice. So what do you want to... She does continue on towards Mr. Light, but her demeanor has changed as far as...
Lyra is definitely gonna like reach for her hand again and be like, "Where are you going?" And she's actually gonna say it out loud this time.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm going to get Mr. Light originally because I was told to go get Mr. Light, but I want to know what the heck is going on, and I feel like he's got answers for us.
So
Lyra like literally makes this like very like concerned face. Like she doesn't like it, but she also trusts Lilith. So she's like, okay, don't. And she's gonna look back towards Twiggy and Dizzy to like make sure that they also are still like themselves, I guess,
Yeah.
if she can, like that they haven't, that the mist has, well, first of all, that the mist hasn't like separated them.
Right.
Like they're still there, right? And then also
they
like,
are.
okay.
And depending on what they're doing is going to depend on what you see. So let's see what they're doing. As this happens, Dizzy and Twiggy, there's a pulse of red light that like kind of flashes in front of you from the sword, and it just remains on. And you can see Isolde turns and looks towards the direction that Lilith went. There's a little glint of red in her eyes that's glowing. What do the two of you do?
Alright. Would it be possible for me to stealthily cast a cantrip?
Sure, so she's actually not watching you directly right now, so if you would do does it have a somatic components, or is it verbal? Or both?
It's somatic.
Okay, so just make a sleight of hand check. Excellent. She does not notice you doing this. What do you cast?
I'm gonna cast Friends.
On her?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Got one of those faces. You just want to be friends with
Right.
her.
So she gets to make a save, is that right? Oh, there it is. Oh, no. It's you get advantage on your charisma checks. Perfect. Okay.
And I'm just
Real
going
work
to suggest that she just leave the area for the time being. Or just go away or something.
She glances back to you, and that like kind of weird friendliness that she had is no longer on her face. It's a little colder, and she looks at you. Go ahead and make that Do you want to make it as persuasion or intimidation?
Persuasion.
Okay. And you have advantage.
How do you toggle advantage on beyond 20?
Oh, that's a good question.
Right click. So right click the bubble box next to it, and
Okay.
it should pop up that you can choose advantage or disadvantage.
Nice.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, right?
Did it roll? I clicked roll, but I didn't hear a sound.
Gotcha. I don't see it coming through.
So if
Oh,
you
it is
click,
rolling.
yeah, it should push. It usually pushes.
While this is going on, Twiggy, what are you doing?
Well, I've been thinking about that. Because there's a whole lot of stuff happening here that's a little weird. Fog doesn't usually roll in like this, and, you know, I don't know, even on the coast, not this quickly. And the sword is doing stuff. It's magic. It's the only magic item here. And you said that the rest of the carnival denizens are cowering?
They are. Thanks to Lilith's spell, you can see them a little better. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to see them anymore. They're just kind of like shadows off in the fog, hiding behind different objects.
What about her employees? Are they out and about?
At this point, you are on the opposite side of the Witchlight Carnival from that entrance, so you don't see anyone?
Has the sky been blotted out?
Yes.
Are we on the same plane?
You see the ground hasn't changed.
Well, the ground doesn't really change a whole lot from the Feywild, minus it being, you know, so much cooler.
Right.
I mean, I am a great wizard. I'll suss this out. It's like one little gerbil running in his head. He's watching. He's gonna keep an eye out.
Okay.
He's confused. He's confused.
So Dizzy, I didn't see the result come through. Did you see it on your end as far as on D20?
Yeah. I got 2 9s, so it ended up being 13 with
13.
the bonus.
Gotcha. So she
So
looks
the
at
advantage
you.
didn't even matter.
She looks at you and she just kind of smiles and she's like, "Oh, of course. My apologies." And she turns and walks back towards the way she came.
Alright, we should probably leave before she realizes that she's been
But light.
enchanted or whatever. I guess it's not an enchant. Well, I guess it is, sort of, but not a
Shit,
charm.
Is the sword still there?
The sword is still there. She's heading towards it.
Oh. How long do we have until she figures it out? She's smart. She'll probably figure out real quick, won't she?
Yeah.
Or she won't, because she's like, she fell for it, so she's probably really dumb. I mean,
Meanwhile, Lilith and Lyra, you reach Mr. Light. What do you do?
Who is this woman? Should we be a friend? And
Oh,
give us some
oh.
answers now.
He kind of like moves to the other side of the trash can.
I'm gonna.
Or sorry, he's on the building.
Lilith is going to grab Mr. Light's arm gently but firmly. You know, like something kind of in between. Where it's like, you're not gonna move anywhere. You're gonna answer our questions.
Shh! Stop!
Don't walk-
You stand out like a sore thumb. Don't bring
Quick,
her
out of
attention
character
over here.
Quick out of character question. So Light was like really drunk before, and then very suddenly Light was not.
Yes.
Right? So this is still the same not drunk Light that we can presume?
Yes, he appears to have sobered up somehow. You're not sure how, but he's definitely sober, but he's wearing like the same outfit, and it's still that kind of like disheveled look that he had from being drunk and stumbling around. Yeah.
But it is still that same like almost like a switch, like totally fine type of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Just double checking that he hasn't like slid back into this like super messy.
Right. No, he's just terrified at this point. He keeps like fumbling his hand down like at the loop on his belt. There's an object that he's obviously reaching for, but it's not there.
Yes.
Don't bring her attention over here. Go away.
What's up with the sword? What's up with this woman? And why is everybody so freaked out? Why is everyone so scared?
We can't defend the carnival without the watch and the cane. You must stop drawing attention. And he like sees the fence, and he's gonna try and break free of your grasp. Do you continue to hold him, or?
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of bear hug him.
Okay, so you do an athletics, and he's gonna do an acrobatics to try and dodge out of your way. Whoo! So he like slips his hand out of your grip, and you can tell he's about to like run for the fence, and you just put your arms around him and like hold him, and he's like, oh, ah,
like a forced snuggle.
right?
Just come here, buddy.
No,
Let us know what's
no
going
means
on.
no.
Bad touch. Bad touch. Why does she want the carnival? What is she gonna do with it?
I mean, technically it is our carnival. We just traded for a while, but I don't want to go back, and we couldn't go back even if we wanted to because we don't have the watch and the cane.
Lyra's gonna step in.
Okay.
And kind of like, he kind of seems a little hysterical with Lilith, like, grappling him essentially.
It's a gentle snuggle.
Right.
It's a gentle forced snuggle. It's fine.
Force
Lyra's glad that Lilith is the one doing it because, Lyra's all about no touchy. But
all touchy, bad touchy.
Not gonna lie, she does have very little empathy, but she does have a little bit of empathy for Light in this moment because she understands, like, don't touch me.
Right.
So she's gonna step like kind of like in Light's like line of view because Light is like probably like flailing like
Right.
And she's like, hey, focus. Right?
Okay.
A little sternly, and she's like, you can't go back. Where is that other weird carnival, the one you came from? Like what?
Yes, it's so hideous.
You do know it's here, right?
I know.
Do you know what happened to the watch? And your walking and
Someone
stick?
stole it, those stupid adventurers.
Lyra does one of these, like, okay, all right.
Lyra, what is your passive perception?
13.
13. Go ahead and make me a perception check then.
Okay. No, she doesn't have advantage. It's just she can use a bonus action. Never mind. We will do that then.
Okay.
I never remember if eye for detail is advantage or like can use a bonus. You know what I mean?
Right.
I never. What one is that? Oh, we hate that.
Yeah, so you're so focused on, dealing with Light's shenanigans. Lilith, what are you trying? Are you just holding Light there?
Well, I mean, it makes me think of like an animal that doesn't want to be held, and you're just kind of like, you're just gonna have to deal with
Right.
this.
You're just holding that squirming puppy out there.
You're
It's like flailing
Male.
around.
my answers, my questions answered. Is she, like I want to ask Light, is she so dangerous that we should would she help you find these things, or does she just doesn't care?
Uh-oh. Lilith, since you're talking, I need you to roll any die. Choose one.
Any die. Fantastic. Let's see.
We love fickle fate. The best.
An 8.
An 8. All
Did
right.
that
So he actually just calms down and looks at you. That's ingenious. Why didn't I think of that? Let's go back and and get her to go find them, and then
Okay.
we'll steal them back from her and run away. I love this. It's a fantastic plan.
Well, I think no matter what, she wants to talk to Light anyway, so I'm not opposed to bringing him to her
Okay.
and finding out more information. I'm totally okay with that.
Okay. So the three of you, like, he doesn't even try to run off or anything when you let him go, or, if you do let him go,
Let him.
he just, like, goes around the building and starts heading back to where you were coming from, or where you all came from. Meanwhile, Dizzy and Twiggy, she reaches the sword and lets out a little laugh and says, on second thought, no, I don't think I'm going to go anywhere right now. And she grabs the sword and pulls it out of the ground. And as she does, you notice that the fog that's been like creeping out of the ground from around it just geysers at this point. There's just like this thick billowing fog that's coming out of it. And she turns towards the two of you.
Ah, nice.
As the fog does billow out, it even with Lilith's spell going on, and it's not going to last for much longer because it has been some time, because it's only a minute, correct?
Yeah, it's only a minute, but
Yeah.
I can re-up it. But yeah.
Even with it, like, the fog is so thick that's billowing out that she just kind of becomes obscured, but you know where she is because she's holding that sword. It just looks like a lightsaber in the dark at this point. What do you do?
What should we do, Twiggy?
Well,
I
on
mean,
the plus
she's
side, we have cover from anything at the sky, so that's good.
from Seagull.
Yes, especially them. Also, while she's busy doing whatever that is that she's doing over there, maybe we should go to the gate, find out if there are people still in line.
Yeah, I suppose that sounds good. Do you think she'll notice if we leave, or?
I don't know if it matters.
All right, well, let's get out of here then.
So she is between you and the exit from the food court area. Do you want to like go hop a fence, or are you gonna like try and just walk past her? What's your plan here?
I'll just try to walk right past her.
Okay. So as you begin heading that way, you notice that like the sword goes up and seems to kind of like rest. You saw her standing this way earlier, so you kind of like catch that she's resting the sword on her shoulder. And then it gets like because you're seeing like the side of the sword, it all of a sudden turns, like becomes much smaller of a bit of light and begins to go off to as you're facing her, goes off to your right.
What do you mean? Like it's moving on
Yep.
its own, or like to intercept, or just?
Now it seems to be walking off toward something else in the food court.
So she's carrying the sword off?
Seems to be. You definitely notice like there's a bob to it, like when she steps.
Okay. Well, she doesn't seem to be very interested in us, so I think we can just walk past.
Leave. Good luck with it
I guess so.
all later.
Twiggy and Dizzy, both of you go ahead and make me perception checks, please.
I'm super perceptive.
Super perceptive.
The most perceptive.
Okay.
Oh, so perceptive.
I am not.
So as you were heading that direction, Dizzy, you're just glad that you don't have to deal with her, that she's kind of heading off. But Twiggy, you notice that the music is muted And it kind of seems a little distorted, almost like it's being stretched and pulled in ways that music really shouldn't be able to be stretched and pulled because it's, sound. What do you do?
Not sure just yet. I'm going to cast Druidcraft. I'm just
Okay.
gonna just reach out with my little tiny feelers into the weave and see if things still work. I'm gonna grow a petunia
Okay. Like out of the ground?
out of the ground, just a petunia.
Sure. What color petunia do you grow?
I mean, obviously, like neon blue.
Right.
Yeah,
So this neon petunia grows up, looks normal.
I watch it as we kind of make our way past.
Okay.
Does it do anything? Does
It
the
does
environment
begin
do
to
anything
wilt
it?
rather quickly.
That's not normal.
And then you hear, ah! 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 Off to your right.
Is it like a loud?
Sorry if that was really loud. Sorry.
Like a large voice.
Yeah. As you're listening, especially with that 22, you're pretty sure that was Mr. Witch screaming off in the.
Well, I mean,
corners
that's not
of
our
the-
problem. They had a contract, I'm sure. Don't get involved in contracts. Don't do it. It's a bad idea. Bad idea. So,
And Dizzy, you did hear the screaming too. That part was not quiet whatsoever.
Okay. Should we check on the screaming?
I think it's an unwise idea to interfere with potential contracts. They're men of contracts. They run a carnival, and she has contracts in her blood. So I think it's not a good idea to really interfere and let them sort it out. They've
The
got terms in there.
contracts are meant to be broken.
No. Mm-mm. No. You can never break a contract. There are horrible fates that wait for those who break contract. There's clauses for those actually about if you break the contract, and then they're not really ever spoken. It really has a lot to do with like kind of who's in charge. But don't do that.
Well, maybe we should just meet up with the rest of the group and tell them about, the weird stuff that's going on now, ever since this person has shown up.
Wait. Hold on. Do you like treants? Have you met a treant before? Let's go meet a treant. Is he still here? Is he alive? Crap. Where is the treant? What's his name? Fuck. The guy.
Oh, I know who
tree.
you're talking about.
Yes.
You don't see the treant. You don't see really much of anything.
Fuck. What's his name? Gonna yell it out. Just thinking about that petunia has me a bit concerned.
Can you blow this fog away?
No, not sure what this is actually. Generally, though, fog takes a pretty large amount of power, which I do have, but I'm all spent. You see.
But you've just been drinking and eating today.
Yeah, that takes a lot of magical energy. Do you know anything about fairies? Obviously not. You know how much energy it takes just for us to digest things? Like, at least ninth circle spells to, like, make all of this work. Ever
I
hear of the
suppose-
spell Wish? That's really for anti-acid.
So
It's
while
true.
they're deciding which way to go, Lilith and Lyra, you're leading Light back towards where you saw the group last, and you hear this horrid scream coming from ahead of you, and Light just stops dead in his tracks, and his eyes are wide. Witch? Witch? Okay, I've changed my mind, and he turns and begins walking back the other way.
Lilith grabs him.
Go ahead and make a athletics check.
All right. see here.
Where do you think you're going?
Right?
Oh. Oof.
Geez, you and your crits today. He doesn't even get a step. You just like grab him by the shoulder, and he's like,
You're not going anywhere. Where's Witch?
killing Witch. I have to hide.
Where's Witch?
Oh, she's killing Witch? I'm sorry, what? No,
Listen to
that's
that.
outside, out loud from Lyra. Like she's what now?
You can hear like screams coming from off in the fog.
Wait. Like are they reachable? Or are they like
Make a perception check.
okay, well we all know the dice hate Lyra, so
Nice. So it's
Right.
weird because you can hear it, and it seems like now that you're listening, it seems like it's that direction, but it's really hard to gauge how far away it is, where usually you'd be like, oh yeah, they're like right there. And at this point you realize that like the music sounds really far away too, like much further away than it should be. And it's kind of like twisting and distorting, like the pipes of the calliope are like making these weird noises that they don't usually make. What do you do?
I don't like that. She doesn't like that either.
How am I
Um
being sent to another plane of existence?
yeah. So since she can kind of like figure this out, can she have another role to like investigate, like, you know, rather than like perceiving, like, but actually like investigating what she found and being like, okay, wait a second, what is actually happening here?
Gotcha. It would
If not,
probably
that's
be
okay.
more of an Arcana check.
That's, I mean, it's the same. It's the same bonus for her.
Gotcha.
So it's they're both intelligence based. But we'll go Arcana. Yeah. And she's the child of a Genasi, so
That's
you know,
fair.
which why I didn't give her proficiency in Arcana, who knows? Well, who thought that wasn't a good idea? Apparently me when I created her.
What am I going to ever use this for?
Right? Anyway.
Um,
Oh,
something
roll.
is definitely distorting your senses. That's what you get.
Okay.
Um,
So then
Lilith.
she kind of senses that. She says to Lilith and Light, since they're like right there, she can be a little bit of a bitch. So she looks at Light and she goes, "One would think you would know better by now not to trust your instincts."
Nice. He just kind of looks at you, and there's like tears dripping out of his eyes at this point. Like he is so afraid for some reason. Lilith, what's your passive perception?
See here, 10.
10. I'm gonna have you make a perception check. You're just so focused on holding on to Light.
Sure.
But
Sure.
Lyra, as you're like looking at him and you're listening to all of this, you notice that Lilith's bag is moving.
No.
Yeah.
She's gonna Lyra, when she sees the bag moving, she's gonna reach for the bag.
Okay.
Like, she's like, nope. That's my best friend's bag. You can't have that. That's like with the weird tentacles that came up, and she's just
Right.
gonna kind of be like, no, don't think so. Don't think so.
You grab it. Lilith, is your the sack you carry everything in, is it like a sack? Is it a backpack? Do you have like a like the shoulder bag? How-
Yeah, it's like a satchel, like a shoulder bag
Okay.
satchel thing.
So Lyra, you lift it up, off of her hip. You can't, the way that she's holding Light, you can't just like pull it off of her without like undoing the strap or something, but you feel something inside is like shaking.
Great. Oh my god. She's wordlessly gonna look at Lilith, like just like that like what the type of look of like, what is this?
Right?
Like, what is happening here?
Lunch.
As you
Sure.
look at
Duh.
Lilith to find out, you realize you can see the rolling mist
No, she does not like
Like,
that.
it-
She just very quickly is going to have physical contact with Lilith herself, if
Okay.
possible, to just like, I don't know what's happening, but I'm going to take your shoulder real quick while holding on to your bag, because
Yeah.
something's going on, and I'm good. Let's,
Why don't the
Lilith
two actually, Lyra? Why don't you make a charisma save?
so Lyra can't be charmed, just an FYI. Oh, no, sorry. She
Yeah,
has a
it's not a charm.
Okay. Oh, a save? Oh, Lyra has the worst charisma in the world. She is a bitch.
So you reach out to grab her with the intent. You're essentially putting your intent into trying to grab her, and your hand just goes right through her. And as your hand breaks through her bag strap goes limp and swings down, having passed through her as well.
I mean, Lyra is kind of like holding the bag and holding Lyra. You know how like when you're trying to like grab, like, so, like if it's like a satchel, she was like grabbing the bag, grabbing Lilith.
Right.
Like at the same time.
But,
Right.
So your hand doesn't actually connect with Lilith. It like passes through.
Okay, so
her.
she's still holding the satchel, but
Yep.
it doesn't connect with Lilith.
Correct. And as your hand goes
Right.
through Lilith, the satchel's strap falls down through Lilith as well. And she disappears.
Okay. Probably for the first time in recent memory, Lilith would see, because it's Lilith, right? It's Lilith and Lyra, right? Like, they're a little more open with each other,
Yeah.
at least in Lyra's brain. Lyra, for a split second, looks terrified.
Okay.
Like, just... And then she's like, it's gone. Like, just... She has the bag, and now... Is Light there still?
Yeah, so like as that look crosses your face, you look at Light, and it's almost like watching a reflection. You're like, oh. And then he disappears as well.
Yeah, now she's alone.
Oh my god.
Meanwhile, Dizzy, Twiggy, what are you doing?
I'm on Dizzy's shoulder, keeping an eye out for other denizens of the area. Gonna try another thing, another use of druid craft. Gonna reach out into the mist and try and summon a weather predictor.
Weather predictor.
A weather predictor.
A
for the next-
newscaster?
Right?
Yeah, for the next 24 hours. What is the weather going to be like?
Like a Denver 7.
So you reach out and you're trying to like kind of get an idea of what nature has in store for this area in the coming 24 hours. But your Doppler radar is just like you get nothing.
Wait. I'm sorry, John, or not John's. Twiggy's Doppler radar is just like,
Yep.
yeah, just absolutely.
Well, I mean, it's not the first time my magic's malfunctioned. I mean, not.
It's weird. Like you feel like you
Yeah.
should have at least gotten, oh, it's going to be foggy or something.
Right. That's also not normal.
And the screaming that's off in the fog suddenly cuts off.
Contract's probably fulfilled, or a new one's been signed.
I say we find our group and then just reconvene from there.
Okay.
Do you think they all signed a contract? Or just those two?
I don't think any of our people signed a contract. I would hope not, at least.
No. I don't think that's happened. Not that I recall. You didn't agree to anything, though, did you?
Of course not.
Just think on it. Just in case. It's important to know.
How would you like to find your fellows?
I mean, I would imagine that we'd be able to probably make them out, I guess. Maybe not in the fog, so maybe go a little further away from the fog.
Yeah, the two of you only see each other at this point. Even the red glow of the sword is gone. Everything around you is kind of like a dim light, and the fog is just rolling around. It seems weird because the fog is like rolling almost on its... I'll give you this, Twiggy. With your naturecraft and like trying to estimate, this doesn't seem like weather because it's not moving like weather. In fact, as you use it and that spell doesn't work, like you don't get any sign of anything, you realize that this fog is not moving how fog should move.
And that there's no weather wherever we are.
Correct.
Like, no weather. Or no ties to nature. Which is, that's not possible. That's not... Obviously not possible. Duh. Yeah, I mean, I guess we could find them. They're probably not dead. There's... Do you think they signed a contract?
I doubt it.
Oh.
You sound disappointed. Do you want them to sign a contract?
No. I mean, like, unless it's a good contract. I mean, it's just tit for tat kind of thing. But...
Did you sign a contract? Well,
I've signed so many. Yeah, so many. I can't even count them. You get a lot. You accrue a lot over the years. Just gonna make sure you stick to the condition. Terms and conditions by the letter.
I meant while we were here.
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, no one came to you and asked you for your name, did they?
I mean, quite a few people have asked me for my name.
No.
What is your name?
You know my name. Also,
No.
you...
No. What is it?
It's Dizzy.
Okay, all right, good. Just don't worry about it. It's fine. Probably fine.
It's probably fine.
It's probably fine.
So while the two of you are having this conversation, you both notice that at first it looks like there's, obviously fog moving between you, but then like that fog, you can also see fog behind the person through them.
Like, is that fog person?
Like, you can see fog behind Dizzy through Dizzy, like, as though Dizzy's becoming semi-transparent.
I draw my dagger. Do I have a dagger? I'm just gonna test something here real quick. Don't worry about it.
Stab. Do you feel that?
Yeah. Do you feel it? I'll just get my boomerang out and just kind of like tonk him in the shoulder. Just.
Oh, like not throw it, but just like tap him with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hard enough to where like you can't just like tap them because sometimes that's not enough. Like enough to where it's noticeable. Is there? Does it get purchased? Does it actually like come into contact with something solid?
Well,
And does
first,
he
Dizzy,
feel it?
would you mind him tapping you with the boomerang, or are you going to move out of the way?
I mean, I'm not really paying attention to Twiggy, so
Okay.
I
So,
don't think I would move out of the way.
Right now, you could definitely feel like there's some stopping force there as you tap. How long are you going to tap for?
Was there like an ow or a stop it?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Is there like an ow or a stop it, like an
Oh.
acknowledgement of the sensation of being?
Dizzy,
Tap
do
that.
you say anything as he taps you?
Oh yeah. Say, what are you doing? You're acting stranger than normal, which
Just
is
running a
pretty
series of
strange.
tests. Series of
And
tests. That's all. You just
As
gotta.
he says that that you're acting stranger than normal, he blinks out and is gone.
Draw my rapier. It's gonna hurt you more than it's gonna hurt me. Start stabbing where he was.
All right, I need all of you to make charisma saving throws. Lyra, you're gonna do yours at advantage.
At advantage. Okay.
I didn't mean to roll twice.
That did not push, but I rolled 2 5s. And Lyra has +0, so it's a 5.
Excellent.
Perfect.
And Lilith, did you get a 12? Is that yours?
Did it go through? Yeah, that was a 12.
Okay, I just want to make sure that wasn't an old one. Okay. Lilith, you were the first to disappear. You all of a sudden have this like sense of falling. You can't really tell which direction you're falling, but all of a sudden it's just like there's no ground beneath your feet, and you feel motion, but there's no wind. There's no air against your face to tell you that you're falling in this direction. It's just this like pit of your stomach, like when you're dropped suddenly, that kind of sensation. And all of you begin to feel this as you are blinking out. And as this happens, there's this sound that builds, but it's almost like wearing headphones where you hear the sound in the middle of your head. Like at the base of your skull, you hear this sound begin to build, and it's so strange. It sounds like a word, but not a word you understand, but it also sounds like screaming. It's very disorienting. And as it builds and builds, Lilith and Dizzy and Twiggy, there's nothing you can do to like stand against the force of the sound in your head, and you almost feel like your eyes explode and like blood starts coming out of your ears, and some kind of maybe brain matter is like shooting out of your nose. Like it's so horrendously loud.
Not again.
And then there's nothing. You black out. Lyra, you were also experiencing this, and that shaking in the bag you're holding is getting more violent. What do you do?
Well, not to like cut ourselves on the edge here, but Lyra is quite used to being alone. Like everything around her disappears, and she's like, all right. And she feels the rattling in the bag, and she actually kind of, like, let's just cut herself on the edge there a little bit. It's so edgy, I cut myself, bro. But she feels the rattling in the bag, and she grips it a little bit tighter. And this is a question for Adela. Does it have like a flap? Is it like a drawstring? How do you open Lilith's bag?
It's a flap.
Okay, like a messenger bag type of.
Like a messenger satchel.
Yeah. So like you would a messenger bag, Lyra's gonna like hold like one joint by the bag and kind of like she's just gonna open it.
Sure.
Like...
So as you open it, it's a little weird. It's a little shocking because you open it, and Umrek's face is staring out at you.
Oh, she hates that.
And his arm kind of squeezes past his face. He's like, What do you do?
She goes, I don't want to know. Hold on, buddy. And she closes the bag. Just like...
Lyra,
ready.
open the bag. Open the bag.
What?
And he like reaches another hand up and like pushes, and he like with a popping noise goes bloop out of the bag.
Okay.
But you notice there's this thin trail of blue vapor, almost like smoke, but not like this fog that's around you, and it's trailing from his feet back into the bag.
They're still like completely surrounded by like this like Stephen King level mist,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Okay. And yet Umrak is standing next to her with this weird mist.
Not so much standing as floating. You also feel tumbly, but you can't really feel like you're falling either. But yes.
Okay. Not yet, at least. So Lyra watches Umrak, who up until now she had no idea where he had gone. right?
Right, yeah, he just
what happened?
disappeared.
Yeah, he disappeared, but it's a carnival. People wander around. She wasn't concerned. It's her friend, right? It's one of her better friends, actually. So she's like, well, all right, well, he can take care of himself. Then he appears, and she kind of like takes the bag, and so her bag, by the way, because most adventurers have a backpack or a bag of some
Right.
sort. Hers is like a drawstring type of backpack that she wears, right? So she's able to kind of sling Lilith's bag like over one shoulder to like keep Lilith's bag at her hip next to like one of her daggers. Her backpack's on her back, so now her hands are mostly free, and she just looks at Umrak and goes, "What the fuck?" She's like,
he stops, he looks around, he's like, I know, right? And he goes to take your hand in both of his hands. Do you let him, or?
No.
Okay.
Don't touch me.
Lyra,
Don't touch me,
Lyra.
Lyra.
Okay. You have to remember this. Find me. Wherever you end up going, try to find me, okay?
Find you. You're right here. Why?
I know. We're here because my patron is keeping us here, but it's not going to last for long. You have to find me. And as he does that, his voice gets really thin, and you can see through him and see the like mist rolling around. Do you want? And then he just
Lyra, when
disappears.
Umrak's voice goes away, right?
Yeah.
She's like, "What? Where are you? What? What are you talking about?" Like she's very confused,
Yeah.
right? Like she has no idea, and she's like, "Okay. We'll find you. We'll find you. Okay."
And he disappears. And that like sound that's in the base of your skull gets really loud, and then you feel a jolt, almost like you hit something. And
Ow.
Lyra, so the rest of you don't experience this part. You all black out, but Lyra, you begin to black out, but as you do, you crack your eyes open, and you're on a mountain. You think you can see the mountain ahead of you. Oh man, that hurts. It's just so weird to look at because like the rocks are there, but they don't go at the right angle. And what is that in the sky? Is like, is it blue? Is it red? I can't tell. It's like silver, and it just like shifts in your vision to the point where you're just like, bleh, and you hork a little, and
Right. Yep.
something steps nearby. Like you just get this like instinctual survival, like there's something behind you, and then you black out.
Didn't like that.
So Lilith, as you wake up, you're laying on the ground, and the ground is kind of cold. There's dirt and dead grass spread out beneath you. What do you do?
Can I tell if there's anybody nearby? Any of my companions?
Yeah, so you push yourself upright and you look around. You don't see any of your companions, but what you do see is you're in a small clearing on kind of ahead of you, the way that you sat up. You see trees, like a thick forest. Everything seems... They're kind of like evergreens, but their needles are kind of like a bluish gray. They're much more muted than an evergreen is. And as you look behind you, you notice a large, dilapidated 3-story house.
Clearly check out the house.
Okay. So as you stand up, and now I'm going to skip over to Dizzy because this might make a difference. Dizzy, you wake up and you're sitting in a chair. It's actually fairly comfortable, although there's like a spring that's kind of poking you in the back. You're in a room that's poorly lit. There's a little bit of light streaming in through a window. There's a fireplace nearby, as well as another chair and a table. You can see there's a doorway nearby, but a little on the opposite side of the room. what do you do?
Is there anything that I could use to light the fireplace to kind of...
You
Please.
should have like a tinder stone or something in your backpack.
Okay. I'm gonna light the fireplace just
Okay.
to kind of make the room feel a little cozier, I guess.
So Lilith, as you're standing outside and you're looking at this house, I should ask you both, can you see the house map?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Lilith, you stand up and you're looking at the house and you see this window here all of a sudden gets kind of like a warm glow from something within.
Gonna check it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
And can you both do me a quick favor? Just verify you can move your tokens.
Let's see here.
Yep, I can move mine.
Okay.
Yep, I can move mine.
Awesome. So, Lilith, as tall as you are, you can walk up and like look in the window without any issue. And Dizzy, do you stand next to the fire, or are you like walking around the room after you light it? What do you do?
I get back in the chair
Okay.
and just kind
is
of
rather
try to
cozy.
absorb my surroundings, like
So as you're
kind of
looking
figure out where I
around,
am.
just as you're looking around, the fire kind of illuminates things, and these two chairs, the one that you sit in and the other one, are kind of in the same condition. They're both well worn, but in fairly good condition. It seems like that spring that's in the one that you're sitting on is just like loose inside and is poking you. It hasn't like ripped through the fabric. There's a table that has a setting for like tea or something, but there's no tea in them or anything. There are a couple other chairs in the corners that appear similar, although a little more plush. The ones you have that you're sitting in have a light wood carving on the outside, and otherwise you see the door that's kind of in the far corner. You see oh, my brain just turned off. A set of like plate mail that's like standing on its own on the opposite wall from where the fireplace is, and there's a painting in the wall opposite the door of it looks like the Fox and Hound hunt. So there's like men in red jackets riding horses, and there's like hounds running with them, and there's like a single fox up ahead of them that's looking back in terror, because that's the thing you want to hang in your house.
Right.
So Lilith, you see Dizzy sitting inside, kind of like eyeing everything.
I'm gonna knock on the window, see if I can't get his attention, or get their attention.
Yeah, Dizzy, you can hear the knock.
Wait, I will get up and go to the window.
Okay. You can see each other through the window.
Does the
Okay.
window open?
You can't seem to find a way to open it on the outside.
Could I find a way to open it from the inside?
It does look like it would slide up. It has been, it like the latch is closed.
Alright, I am gonna try to open it.
Okay. So it takes a little bit of finagling to get the latch to turn. It's obviously not been opened in a while. And so you move the latch and go to lift up. And as you lift up, it doesn't budge, and you look up and the latch is closed.
Alright, I will try again.
Okay. So you move the latch and reach down to lift up, and same thing. You like, it doesn't budge, and you look up and the latch is closed.
Okay. I'll just gesture to Lilith that I can't open it. So
Lilith will go around to the front.
Okay.
What she perceives as the front.
Okay. While you're walking around, Lyra,
Yes.
as that sense of something standing behind you sets in, and everything kind of goes quiet and dark. You realize you're sitting in a chair, and there's something on you. Like there's something touching most of you.
Nope, she's out of wherever she is.
So as you begin to flail around, you realize, like, you throw it off. There's like a white, dirty, dusty sheet that was draped over you, and you like throw it off of you, and you look around, and you're in what looks like a dining room. There's a little bit of light trickling in through a couple of windows, and the long table stretches out before you. You are sitting at one of the heads of the table. All of the other chairs around it also have white sheets pulled over them, and they have like a fairly thick dust on them. There's a couple of candelabras that have like just the nubs of candles that are not burning. They're like just the wicks are sticking out, spaced across the table. There is a large fireplace to your left.
Okay.
And a couple of doors behind you.
Is
What do
the
you do?
table itself draped, or is it like draped with the candelabras on top of it, or is it like?
The table itself is not draped. Neither does it have a tablecloth on it. It's just bare wood.
It's wood. I'm
Yeah.
assuming. Maybe this is wrong to assume it's dusty, given the rest
It
of
is
this.
dusty,
table.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Context clues was given. We always gotta check though. So Lara wakes up covered in this sheet, and again, she doesn't like things touching her. So especially
Right.
when she blacks out and wakes up she freaks out, throws it away, and like realizes that like, okay, all right, she's okay, she's fine. I'm fine. She still has her own backpack, and she has Lilith's bag, presumably.
She does.
She immediately gets up from the table and is looking around this room to see. Now, is there a source of, like, is there light in this room, or is
There's
it...
very dim light coming in from these windows.
Yep.
But other than that, there is not. But being
Okay.
You're half elf, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you definitely have you can see in it. It's just
Yeah.
dim light.
Yeah. She's gonna take from her own pack, not Lilith's, obviously. She has a tinderbox, and she's gonna take one of the candelabras. And while it has minimal candle left, there's still candle left to burn.
Yeah.
And because I don't think she has a torch. Yeah, she doesn't have a torch. She only has a tinderbox. Oh, well, she does have she has a candle herself.
Gotcha.
So she's gonna kind of like,
pry out
you
the
kind of gotta carve out the candle when it's melted. And all that. She's gonna pull one out and like in the middle of the candelabra stick a brand new candle. No, she's not gonna use 3 of them, right? She's gonna kind of use the candelabra as a makeshift torch. And she's going to light the middle candle so that she has something that hopefully her friends are nearby, but she also knows that sometimes you light things and things you don't want to find you might find you, but
Right.
At this point the pros outweigh the cons.
Okay. So as you're like digging that out and you go to light the candle, do you see this chair here that I'm clicking on?
I do. So it's like 3 to her left.
Yep. So that
Okay.
chair, you notice, and you're pretty sure it wasn't like this before, there is a small humanoid form sitting under the sheet, like kind of like how it was draped over you.
Mm-hmm.
And so like as you go to light the candle, you see that. What do you do?
Can she tell? No, I mean it's under a sheet. It's. Does she get the candle fully lit, or is it like as she's going to and she kind of stops?
So that's up to you. Like if you feel like she would stop, so you have the choice of not lighting it. I didn't want to
Okay.
take that away from you.
Yeah. So yeah, honestly, she would not light it if
Okay.
she saw something else in the room move. Because that's just who she is as a
Yeah.
person. So she kind of pulls the tinderbox, like the candelabra's on the table. She has the tinderbox in her hand. She goes to strike it, and she looks, and she kind of sees in her front periphery this thing moving.
Right.
kind of pulls it back, puts the tinderbox like in her pocket, leaves the candelabra where it is on the table, and just takes a very quiet step backward. Like she's not trying to make herself known to whatever this thing is.
Right.
I mean, it's a humanoid shape, but friend or foe, it's under a sheet. She has
Right.
no idea. So she's just kind of like quietly taking a step back and walking. I mean, I'll move her token. She kind of walks to like, I wish Roll20 let you do half squares, but I'll move her token there, but she's kind of walking to like there,
Yeah.
really.
So
You know,
as you, oh, the dog barked. I need you to roll a die of any kind.
Bum bum bum.
let's roll a d8. Let's see what happens. 5.
5. All right, so
5 on a d8.
as you put the candelabra down and you take a step and you hear,
Does it sound childish?
it does, and something in the fireplace moves, and you can kind of hear like the ash and such kind of fall down, like the buildup that gets caught up in chimneys falls down from there. And while that's happening, oh, Twiggy ran off. I was about to give him his
You can
turn.
look at 30 more seconds till Twiggy comes back if you want. It's up to you.
So it might depend on what Twiggy does as far as what happens next, but we'll give Lilith the chance to make it around to the front. So Lilith, as you walk around, you see that this front area is there's like an open porch that has a railing around it, and these like wide stairs that go up onto the porch. And so you head up that way to where your token is. You can see here that there are wide double doors, and there are several windows in the front of the building. The windows are kind of stained with age and muck. What do you do?
I'm gonna go up to the door.
Okay.
I'm also going to do another Twilight Sanctuary. So I'm gonna hold on to my holy symbol and think about it for a minute, just to bring some more light. Even though I'm able to see pretty far in the dark, I feel like that's like a warm, comforting blanket around me. So
Makes sense to
I'm
me.
gonna cover myself with light before I try those doors.
Okay.
And then I'd like to try the doors.
Okay. The door is unlocked.
You know, it's a bad idea, and I'm gonna just go ahead and do it. Walk on
Okay.
in.
So as you step in, like you open the door, and it's fairly loud. There's obviously like age that has created the like rust and stuff on the hinge, and so it kind of creaks and pops and whines. And because Twiggy's back, we're gonna jump to him real quick. So Twiggy,
Hello.
you wake up. You are sitting on a chair. The chair is quite spongy. It's very like comfortable. It's like kind of like laying on a cloud that can hold your weight.
Is it a me-sized chair?
It is not. It is a larger chair. So like it's almost like laying in a bed for you.
Oh.
You do notice that there are 4 other chairs as well as the one that you are in around a round table in this area. There's a large fireplace off to your left, as well as a couple of doors, 3 doors to be exact, that are to your right, like on the map at the lower part of the room. There's
Is it dark?
no sunlight coming in, but there are 3 lamps that are lit, and you can hear them hissing.
Do I still have all my faculties? I'm gonna just do like the general, like, you know, head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Gonna do the
But for you,
attempted
wouldn't it be head,
flashback.
shoulders, wings, and toes?
Head, shoulders, wings, and toes? Yes. Yeah. I'm gonna do the kind of the hangover flashback. Like, okay, so what happened last night? I got drunk? No. How did I get here?
You definitely have this like
Um,
reminiscence of a really terrible headache, but when you wake up, it's not there. There's almost like the reminiscence of it in your head, like a memory of pain, but the headache itself isn't there.
and I do remember the carnival, right?
You do remember the carnival, yeah.
So it's carnival headache in here. All right, so, oh man, they did say the cider was bad.
That they did.
God, no, oh god damn it. We did something. I hope we didn't murder. Probably didn't murder anybody. Flutter out of my chair.
Okay.
There are doors.
There are doors, yeah. You see one here,
Okay.
and then one on either side of the room there, and there.
Right.
And the doors seem, they're wood. They're like a dark red, reddish wood. Not like
One, two,
not
three,
like this color, but
2. All right, this one right here.
'Kay.
I'm gonna grab a lamp.
so
Because-
as you head over to the lamp that's sticking on the wall, and it's making a hissing noise, you realize it's attached to the wall, and there's like a tube coming out into it.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, then that wouldn't be a good idea. Oh man, I'm so tempted.
You never know.
Burn it down! Burn
Right?
it down! Ah, crap. Well, I mean, is there food? Are there books? Are there any signs of other occupants?
You do notice that there is a small pile of stuff that's in that top left corner. Let me just verify what that is.
Okay. Am I armed still?
Yeah,
Do
you have
I
all
have-
you have all of your stuff.
All right. I briefly panicked for a second.
So are
uh,
you like flying around, or are you walking? What's your
Well, there can't possibly be seagulls inside.
Right.
That's a law of nature. So yeah, I'm gonna freely fly in this room, because I feel pretty safe here to be able
Okay.
to fly around and be safe from seagulls.
So as you fly up, you notice that on the table itself looks like some kind of game board is laying there. In the just above you, like you notice it because you see a really dirty reflection of yourself as you fly over. Above the fireplace is a mirror, but the mirror is like very dirty, mucky, more than just dust. And then there are portraits that cover the walls as you're looking around. They're also covered in dust, so it's kind of hard to tell what's behind them. In fact, until you began moving around, you weren't even sure. You didn't even notice that they were there.
Is there fuel in the fireplace?
There is.
All right, I will summon motes of fire to start the fire.
Okay.
Use druidcraft.
Yeah,
'Cause I am
like,
powerful wizard.
the wood sparks up pretty quickly. And you hear from the door that you were heading towards.
I draw my rapier.
And the rest of you also hear that about the same time. Dizzy, while Lilith walked around, what were you doing? Were you staying in the room? Were you heading out?
I was gonna wait for her because I'm assuming that she's going to try to find my area,
Yeah.
like that I'm in. So
Okay. So as you're like waiting, you hear from the direction she walked, a door, a very squeaky door opens.
all right.
Lilith, you
I'm gonna try and find Dizzy.
okay?
So knowing that the window, was on the one side, and I went through the front.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it should be that far away. I would
Right.
assume that Dizzy, I would assume that I might be able to find Dizzy pretty easily.
Yeah. Let me tell you a little bit more about that front room that you enter. So it has like wallpaper that was like this bluish with a bright white, kind of a fleur de lis type insignia on it, but it's all like crumpling and peeling off the wall. There's some mold on it. There's this heavy, musty, moldy scent to the room. And you notice that there's a curving staircase that rises up. That would be this staircase right there. So it's not like a circular staircase, but like it goes straight and then curves up to the next floor. There's a chandelier hanging in the middle of the room. It is not lit, and you notice that there are like cobwebs, and the cobwebs are like heavy with dust, so they're hanging down pretty low to your head. And then you notice that there are doors on every side of the room that you're in. And finally, a bronze sculpture of an antlered eagle, you think, sits upon a marble pedestal right there.
Wow. Okay. Lilith is just going to kind of take it all in and still try and find Dizzy. Like maybe try this door, like to this closet thing, and realize that it's just a closet, and try this other door into the hallway, knowing that that's kind of the general direction that she needs to go. She's gonna breeze past all this stuff.
Okay.
She wants to find her.
In fact, that closet is a water closet, so if you're just like, oh, I need to use the restroom, that's the place to do it.
I would imagine it would be stinky if the rest of the house looks the
Right?
way that it does. Like, pretty gross. So I'd like to find Dizzy and then start really looking through the house.
Sure. Yeah, so as you head into that hallway, you notice that there is the door straight in front of you, and you're pretty sure that probably leads closer to where Dizzy is, if not into the room, and then there's another door on your left as you're heading down the hallway. That door is also wooden, I believe. Yep. And you notice that there's like a lot of guck build up on it.
This place is gross, and we need to find a way to get out. And I know that at least Dizzy is here, so maybe everybody else is here as well. So I'm going to try and go and bypass this other wood door, because I don't think it goes to Dizzy, and I'm going to go straight to Dizzy's room.
Okay. So because everyone heard it, as you were entering in that hallway, Twiggy, what are you doing?
Well, there's a bunch of noise. Do I hear footfall then?
Yeah, I don't
heading in
think
that
Lilith was being quiet, were you?
No, I wasn't being quiet.
Yeah.
And I should have like a glow underneath the doors. Like as I walk, I'll have an orb of light. So if anyone's looking under a doorway, they'll probably see like light go past.
So there's definitely that like light that moves under the doorway and then disappears if you wait until she's gone into the hallway, essentially.
And I am so ridiculously neon that it's kind of hard for me to hide somewhere. I mean, it works in dark vision because it's in grayscale, but cast any light towards me, I'm gonna fucking glitter. Is there somewhere to kind of? I know I'm gonna fly over the door, this door here, following the sound, and I've got my rapier ready.
Okay.
And I'm gonna dive bomb hostiles.
They invade your space.
Hostiles. So if like someone bursts through the door, if I see a weapon drawn, if they look like, you know, shadow-born vampires or I don't know, demons, I'll probably stab them in the head.
Okay.
Hostiles.
So you flit up and you're like waiting to stab hostiles. Lyra, what do you do?
Okay, so Lyra was like a few walls away from Lilith
Mhm.
coming in.
You
And I'm
definitely-
assuming because she's not really near a door that Lilith walked past, she didn't really see the light either.
Right. And you didn't hear her footsteps, but you definitely heard the creaking of the door because it was loud.
Oh, yeah. Lyra is honestly way more focused on this like figure in the chair in front of her. Like, okay, that's a problem that's in a different room. If it's gonna come to
Right.
me, it's gonna come to me.
Totally fair.
Yeah. So she's like behind this figure, and that little giggle just has her like absolutely. Lyra doesn't do kids. Lyra doesn't like kids. Lyra is nothing about kids. Like, so with no patience or care, she just rips the sheet, just like from the back of the chair, and like rips the sheet
Okay.
off, dagger in hand.
Okay.
Literally, like one hand rips the sheet, and while it sounded like a childish giggle, like ice dagger in the other hand. Like,
Okay.
no, I don't think so.
So you like have your dagger in one hand and you grab the sheet in the other off, that's hanging off the back. You take a deep breath and you whip it backwards and there's nothing underneath it.
Yep. Great. Yep. Cool. Lyra just kind of she sighs, and starting with the chair she was at, walks 1, 2, 3, 4, and she just starts, walking around the table and just ripping sheets off the chairs one by one.
Okay.
So that there's like no nothing. And she, of course she ends like right back up where she was, which is, if she goes all the way around the table, is here.
When you get to, I almost clicked on the wrong thing. When you get to here,
Yep.
as you rip the sheet off, you notice that under the chair of the first one that you pulled it off,
Yep.
is something red. It's hard to make out, and the little bit of light that's streaming in the room allows you to tell its color as opposed to with your dark vision. There's something small and red under that chair. And then the sheet that you're holding that you just pulled off moves and wraps around your head.
Mm.
And that's where we'll end it for this week.
No. Oh,
Oh man.
I hate everything about it.
And then she's sneezing all over the place. Nope.
It's like getting killed by a rug.
Right?
It's happened. It's happened to me. It's terrifying.
Any questions, comments, complaints, concerns?
Are we still in Kansas?
Are you still in Kansas? You might be in Kansas now. You weren't in Kansas to begin with, so maybe you're now in Kansas.
Damn.
Feel like this house might suck.
No. No.
I'm sure it'll
Probably
be
fine.
Yeah.
fine.
It's just fixer upper.
Yeah.
Charming is actually the word in the
uh-huh.
posting. Yeah.
We need
Wait.
the couple that flips houses to come in.
Right?
Take that.
Flip my haunted house!
This wallpaper is terrible. It's coming out.
As they
It's
peel it
interesting.
away and there's monsters on the wall. Ah!
That's Strawn's favorite show.
Straw's favorite show. I really need to have them come and clean my castle.
And then we will feast.
Right.
Ah.
All right. Well, thank you all for playing today. Thanks everyone for watching. It's appreciated. We hope to see you next week, same time, 2:30 Eastern, here on WH Publications. Glad to be back in the game. We will
Woot.
see you then.
Huzzah!
Bye.